Okay, welcome back to another open source silicon stream. This is number 2. Let me just know in the comments if you are hearing this, if I'm too loud or too quiet. I'm trying a wearable microphone today because I'm going to be over at the electronics desk later to look at this 555 timer. Last week we covered a bunch of interesting stuff. Tiny tape out 6 silicon scans, tiny tape out 6, Alex's simulation of cellular automata, booting Linux, tried some TT07 designs. And if you're interested in checking out any of those, then watch the replay. It's up on YouTube. Can I just see some people in the comments? Is the volume okay? That's the thing I'm waiting for. Hi Kilopo, hi Rohan. Hey Bleep Track. Mineheart says sounds good. Thank you, Mineheart. All right, and Thomas is here. Hi Thomas. Mono No Aware, hello. Welcome everybody. All right, so gonna just kick off with some news. So my New Year's video is out. So I do one of these once every year, looking at the goals I had during the last year and whether I met them or failed them, and my highlights, not just of my projects, but other people's projects as well. So I wrote a blog post about that. Hi, Sam. You can see it here on the 0to-ASICcourse.com website, and I made a video on YouTube as well. And let's just take a look. Probably my top highlights would be writing the IEEE paper on tiny tape out, the conferences, and did a bunch of really good interviews. And then I chose my kind of top tape outs. We saw the Linux capable SoC from Hirosh last week. Ray Z80, that's on tiny tape out 7 actually, so we're waiting to see whether that's going to be working or not. I haven't heard back from Ray yet. We did see from Carsten that his design is working, and one of the things I've got on the menu today is to check out Vincent Fusco's 555 timer. And maybe one thing I'll just quickly show you on this stream as well is the some of the demo scene. The demo scene competition. So I just did like a supercut of 5 or 6 of the demo scene entrants. This is due to be judged in March. Some of these have soundtracks as well. I don't want to give away too much. That's just like a little example of some of the stuff we saw. So I'm super excited to see that. All those designs are tiny tape out 8, which we're expecting to see the chips back in March, but we still haven't actually heard anything on the update from eFabulous, so we're waiting to hear from them. Choreo Libre is out in more news, and in fact they picked up booting MicroLinux as one of their top stories, so thanks for that, FOSSI Foundation, Choreo Libre. And then we've got Silice, Sylvan's member of the open source silicon community, and has made Silice, which is like a higher level hardware description language. Beehive, homebrew electron beam lithography. Lots of interesting stuff in the Choreo Libre. And yeah, Callista Redmond resigns as RISC-V CEO. So that's a good one to subscribe to if you're not subscribed already. Good to see news from there. Tiny Tape Out 6 is shipped, and we're going to be bringing the bring up party is going to be coming soon. So if you're interested in that, then keep an eye on your inbox. I'll be sending out an email soon inviting you when we choose when it's going to be. It's probably going to be this Thursday, next Tuesday, or next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central European time. And that'll be a time to come along, bring your project and show it working on a stream like this one. Tiny Tape Out 7 is 60% shipped. If you're a Tiny Tape Out 7 customer and you haven't updated your shipping address, then make sure you do that. I just emailed everyone today to remind them on that. So we'll call it there on the news. Just check the comments here. Kilopo says, interested in this project based in France, pursue training in digital chip design. So I would just recommend you joining the Discord community and consider taking one of my courses if you have the cash. And if you don't have the cash, you can apply for a grant. Process Corp says hello, hi from Chile. Hola, Process, encantado. Welcome to the stream. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to have a play with one of the designs on Tiny Tape Out 6, which is the 555 timer. So I'm going to share my screen again. So this is the design, Vincent Fusco. A 555 timer clone. This is the physical layout. So you can see it uses all analog designs on Tiny Tape Out are 2 tiles tall. And that's because if we go to the main chip layout, they connect on one side to the digital mux and on the middle side to the analog mux. And his design, he could probably put in, I don't know, maybe 12 of these in one analog tile. So it's very nice small design. And he's suggesting to test it with a circuit here, which is like the basic astable multi-vibrator circuit. I think that's on page 10. So I'm going to try and build this circuit here. Let's see if we can get it flashing and see that on the scope. It's got 2 digital pins and a reset and the output. And then it's got 3 analog pins, threshold, trigger, and discharge. And let's take a look at the design. So if you want to follow along, you can clone the repo here. I'm going to start another terminal. I've already cloned it. And in here we've got the schematic. So it's done a nice job of laying this out. If we just compare that to the their top level design, here we go. We've got these 2 comparators, the flip-flop and a MOSFET there, and we see the same thing here. And we can go down inside this one. How do I do that? I was able to do that earlier. There we go. And we can see the comparators here and the resistors, the flip-flop, these inverters, and then this MOSFET here. Bunch of biasing resistors. it's typical to see this where if you want to have this one resistor of looks like 40k, you do it out of 4 smaller resistors that you all join, and that makes it easier to get them matched and a good quality result. There might be some dummies in there as well, although they're maybe not in this one. R bias. Hi, Sylvan. So we can also take a look at their layout and see how this relates to the layout. We've got the magic RC file here. And I'm going to need to copy that in from the PDK. That probably won't work because of symlinks and so on. There we go. No. There we go. Okay, so somewhere in here I should get the magic RC file. Let's not pick that up. It's not normally this hard to open an analog file. There we go, okay. And it's still saying, oh no, it's unnamed, but I've got the Technology Sky 130A now, finally. So let's try and open the top level file. Okay. So this is the layout on the chip, and it's split up all hierarchically. So these are those resistors we were looking at earlier. And we can also see the cell hierarchy here. So we could take a look at the comparator. That's the inverter. And where's the flip-flop? Ah, there we go. So he's built the latch out of an inverter, a NOR gate and a NAND gate, and drawn them all separately and then bonded them all together. And this is on Tiny Tape Out 6. So we should actually also have the decap, thanks to T-Explained for the decap. Let me see if I can get hold of that. That's the TIFF file there. Actually, I might have the TIFF file downloaded. Okay. Let's open that with GIMP. And now where is the... Oh, that's... Oh no, that is with the... Because we can see Uri's skull oscillating bones there. So we should be able to see this as well. Let's find out where was it on Tiny Tape Out 6. There, 555 timer. So third along. On the top. So it looks like it's this one here. Because it's all under the fill, unfortunately. It's right next to Pat's Wawa. Yeah, you can see. So Psychogenic Pat has got his ADC here with some art, so we can see that. So it's this one here, but it's all covered by fill, unfortunately. All right. And now I'm going to try to build this circuit with a couple of resistors and a capacitor. And I've already soldered up some Dang, I have to be added to the stage. Audio, my dude. Thank you, Crypto CS guy. Just as well I came back to check this. So I want to make this big though. Solo layout. Okay, maybe you can tell me if you can still hear. Love the way Saturdays equals you says, is this pre-recorded after we just had the massive audio outage? No, it's live. So you can hear the audio. Okay, good. Yeah. Hey, Andy. Good to see you good to see you here. All right. So Yeah, so you got soldered this on, so I don't have to use these. I've got this here, and the plan now is to try to build this circuit and then power it up and see if we can get it to work in a stable multi-vibrator mode. So I'm going to connect up power and ground first. So I'm not sure if I need... Oh yeah, I need it for that potential divider there. So I'm going to take... So that's the question, is whether VS should be 3.3 or 1.8 volts. Sylvan, you probably know that. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. So I'll just leave that unplugged for now. Remind me if I forget to power it up later, but I'll leave that on the one side. So then I want a potential divider between these two resistors down to ground. Okay, so that's that done. And then I need to connect threshold to trigger. So let's bring these three to the board. So I've got discharges going in between, so that's B2. So B2 is blue. So that's in there. B1 is... Oh no, that's not going down to ground now. That is threshold, which is B1, which is grey. And then we've got the capacitor going from there down to ground. Then I've got this middle one, B1, B2. Okay. And then B3 is this light blue color, and that is trigger, and that's connecting to the same place as B1. Which is this light one, which is between the cap and ground. Then we've got the output, that's a digital output. We've got the reset, controls unconnected. So I think that's the whole circuit apart from power. And Sylvan says, yeah, 1.8 volts. So I can get that from somewhere on the board here. There, top there. Don't have anything soldered yet, so I have to solder that quickly. All right, and then this needs to get changed. Won't plug that in yet, I'll just measure it first. So let me connect up this board. And 1.8 volts. All right, so that is the board wired up, I think. So now I've got to select the project, enable it. And then we might need to do this interaction because we've got this reset. So this is a not reset. So I guess that's got to be set low for it to be not reset. So reset, not reset. And I suppose if this was working, I would now expect to see something on the output pin. So I will use the scope for that. Oh, the reset needs to be high, does it? Oh, I see something. Already see something flashing on the board. That's a great sign. Let's just put this one in. Hopefully, you can see that flashing away on the output 0. Great sign. Yes. Saturdays equals youth. That's correct. Take the 555 timer on Tiny Tape Out 6. So let's put the scope back up and see if we can get some of these classic waves on the screen. So I guess I'll trigger on the output. Cool. Looks like an astable multi-vibrator to me. And then let's take a look at on that pin of the capacitor. Bit funny looking. Oh, there we go. Ah, there we go. Cool. Nice. Hooray. So I'll take a screenshot of that for posterity. And then we can do the with reporting results. Always great to do that. And this was tested with the suggested circuit 175. Um, 4.7k resistors, and what was the capacitor? Should have written it down. I think it was 15 microfarad. And what frequency did we get there? Hertz. Awesome. Anyone got any questions or anything else they want to see on the 555 timer? Okay, so let's move on then. The other idea I had was to look at doing some radio stuff. So this year, one of the things I want to do is try to get some radio stuff taped out on Tiny Tape Out. And a super simple type of radio is going to be just using an existing oscillator that we already have on one of the Tiny Tape Out chips, and then basically turning it on and off. And then on the receiver, it makes for a very simple, like one of these receivers that you just need a diode for, like the crystal receiver set, where you just have a diode and a high impedance input and an amplifier. So the idea then is to have a look at kind of what we already found, what we've already got in taped out already, and then use a software-defined radio to see if we can see those signals. So I have started a document here, and I found Uri's oscillating bones tape out, which is a pretty funny functional silicon art design, where each inverter is in the shape of a skull and crossbones, and then they're all in a loop. So we get a ring oscillator, and it's got 4 dividers, where it's got an output and then 3 dividers. So we've got a set of different frequencies we can see out on the outputs. So if we put in a length of wire onto one of these outputs, get the signal going out, and then use a software-defined radio to see what kind of signal strength we might expect to see for the receiver. And I've got a Lime SDR over on the bench, so I'll put the bench back up and get that set up. So this is the Lime SDR. And oscillating bones, that was on Tiny Tape at 6 as well. So we use this other board that I have here. And then cancel the board again and choose oscillating bones. So on 0, 1, 2, and 3, we should see these square waves. Pretty nasty looking because it's so high frequency. What's this next one? That's a bit better. And that's the best one. So maybe we'll try this this fast one, which is showing a frequency of around 21 megahertz. So I'm just going to plug in a length of wire. Maybe I'll go for 2 pieces of wire, actually. I think 20 megahertz is something like 2 or 3 meters at least for the correctly matched antenna. So I'll move that out the way. So it's not a great antenna, but should be able to see something hopefully. And then do the same thing with a Lime SDR. I don't have a good antenna, so I'll just poke that in there. And the program I'm using for the SDR is GQRX. Let's see if this is working today. Oh, that's looking pretty interesting. Okay, 40 meg bandwidth. So we should be seeing it kind of around about here. Okay. So if I select a different design, oh yeah, look at that. That was a bigger change than I was expecting. That's really quite significant change, isn't it? Maybe I should. Is there a way? I don't think that, because it's a ring oscillator. There's not. I don't think there is put a way of turning it off completely. It'd be good to. We go for the factory test, maybe. Okay. So you can see this. These ones here are always there. We enable oscillating bones. Wow. Horribly polluting. I think it's probably these ones. You can see this here, especially the way it moves as it turns on, as the ring warms up. Let's just go back to the factory test. So you can see up here what the DBFS is. So I did speak with Harold Prettel about this, and he said that one thing I'm going to need to do is to get the be able to convert this into a real unit. What did he say it was? dBms? dB per milliwatt, something like this. I've got a lot to learn about radio. And then when we enable 42, it goes up to minus 50. And it's going to climb more, isn't it, as it tunes in. This over here. Okay, so yeah, actually maybe that's the place to get the result from then. 12.2 megahertz. So I'm plugged into oscillator divided by 2 there, I think. Yeah. So with it off, it's minus 63. And when it's on, it's minus 29, which is definitely sure that will be detectable. But I'm interested to know, like, what is that? Like, if I disconnect the aerial from the tiny tape out board, will that go away? Let's try that. I'll try it on the 4 different pins that we have, and we'll see what happens to this waveform. And let me just zoom out so we've got the biggest view. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this antenna. Interesting, that big spike at 12 is just 13, it's just going for it. Okay, now plug it in on the undivided output. And then divide by 2. Divide by 4. And divide by 8. Yeah, what is that? This really super big one. Anyone in the chat got any ideas what that could be? 13 kilohertz. So when I tested this design before, and that's not 13, that's 13 megahertz. It was like 87 megahertz for the main frequency. So divide by 4 is 21 megahertz. But maybe there's something up with the SDR, like the numbers aren't matching properly. It's almost like it doesn't kind of matter which of the divider outputs. It could be just the square wave harmonics, I guess, because then that makes a big difference. So it's between the divide by 2 and the divide by 4 outputs. $35. So if we have a ring oscillator that you can turn on and off with the RP2040, and then a simple receiver that has an amplifier and a rectifier and a power sensor, then I think that would be like the simplest form of radio that we could do with tiny tape out. So that's one of my plans for this year, is to try and get that working, get like 2 designs on tiny tape out, one that can be a transmitter and one can be a receiver. And to start with, do most of the work, or a lot of the work, with the RP2040 that's on the board. So like encoding and decoding and signal training and handshaking and stuff like this. Yeah, Sam says get Charles Law on it. I've invited him. I've trying to get him excited about ASIC radio, and he found an interesting mixer that he'd quite like to try out. So that may well happen. I think personally, and we do have, there's a couple of other mixers on Tiny Tape Out 7. I'm waiting for Kolos is one of them. He's got a Gilbert mixer. He's working on a circuit board to help him test this. So the plan is that when he's got that going, we'll do an interview or something and take a look at it. And there's another type of mixer in here as well. Bruce, double balanced mixer and quadrature divider. We've got some RF peripheral circuits in this one. That looks like an inductor or something in there. But yeah, I'm going to keep it super simple to start with and just do something like the most simplest thing that I can think of to do, and try and get those on Tiny Tape Out 10, and then on every tape out after that, try and like add a little bit of complexity and slowly move away so much dependency from the RP2040. So in the end, we have like a mixed signal block where we do the encoding and so on, and maybe like something more complicated like frequency shift keying, or something more just an on-off keying. So yeah, if radio and ASIC stuff is interested and you want to get involved in that project, then join the Tiny Tape Out Discord. And I think we can probably start wrapping this up now. So the other thing I wanted to say was next week, same time, same place. I'm always open for ideas on what kind of things we can cover in these streams. It's very experimental for me. I quite like to have a plan and know what I'm doing beforehand, rather than go into it with no preparation. So I'm really up for people sending ideas about what they'd like to be see on the stream. And thanks everyone for joining. Got 26 people tuned in now. I think the last one ended up getting like 1,000 views on the replay. And I have already used like a couple of slices of that video for, I think I chopped out a little bit about the Linux boot to play. So it's like it's been a bit useful already. And then, yeah, just a reminder, subscribe to the channel, sign up to the mailing list. And if you want to get more involved, we've got Tiny Tape Out coming up in Tiny Tape Out 10 is open right now, closes in 46 days. We still got 60 of the cheap PCBs available. So for $150, you can do an ASIC tape out, thanks to sponsorship from eFabulous. Hi, Intuban. Good to see you right at the end. Just wrapping things up now. So this is what we've got currently on Tiny Tape Out 10. Yeah, so thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week at the same time, same place, and send your ideas, anything that you want to take a look at or get covered, and hope to see your ASIC on Tiny Tape Out 10. Thanks for watching.